Tensions in the Middle East continue to rise steadily, with Israel responding forcefully to both Gaza City and any affiliated organizations. There has always been historical friction between Lebanon and Israel, and since the beginning of this conflict, this friction has been intensifying day by day. Now, hostilities between Israel and Lebanon have resulted in exchanges of fire. Recently, Hezbollah militants in Lebanon launched rockets into northern Israel, prompting an immediate response from the Israel Defense Forces. Regarding the details of these clashes, although the projectiles launched from Lebanon did not reach Israeli territory, an anti-tank guided missile fire was reported from the Metula area without causing damage. In retaliation, Israeli warplanes carried out strikes in various areas of southern Lebanon, targeting facilities associated with the militant group Hezbollah. As reported by the Israel Defense Forces, the targets included technological facilities, weapons depots, rocket launch sites, and other related infrastructure. The Israeli attack has created a significant disruption in the plans of Hezbollah militants, as the destruction of this place where they were hiding their vital weapons has put them in a complicated situation. Following these attacks, large plumes of smoke have been seen near the Lebanese town of Hermeh. This persistent war is leaving its mark on the Middle East, marking the map with large dark clouds and perpetuating the continued conflict in the region. Shortly after this attack, the Israeli army redeployed to the region. The Israel Defense Forces carried out attacks against 2 terrorist cells located in southern Lebanon. According to reports from the Israel Defense Forces, these cells had plans to fire on Israel, possibly using anti-tank guided missiles. Additionally, the Israeli military reported attacking an observation post belonging to the militant group Hezbollah in that specific area. Continued attacks by Israel have disturbed the positions of the militants involved. Saleh al-Aruri, deputy leader of Hamas and head of its wing in Jordan, currently operates in Lebanon, highlighting the strategic importance of this country in the region. Following these forceful attacks, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant issued a warning to Hassan Nasrallah, leader of Hezbollah who visited northern Israel amid this escalation of hostilities, urging him not to make mistakes. Gallant communicated the message in a very serious and threatening tone. His statement was emphatic. "We are adopting a defensive posture in the north and carrying out maximum intensity attacks in Gaza. Disarming, that is our top priority. We are not seeking to start a conflict in the north, but we are fully prepared for any eventuality. The Force Air Force is deploying most of its capacity on Lebanese terrain against Hezbollah." Subsequently, the Israeli Military Intelligence Directorate made the following statement. "Unfortunately, the main political and diplomatic levels of the Hamas militant group reside and carry out their operations outside the territory of the Gaza Strip." The Israel Defense Forces reported that more than a quarter of senior Hamas officials, including the prominent Ismail Haniyeh, operate outside Gaza, including in nations such as Iran, Qatar, Lebanon, and Turkey. At the same time, the Israel Defense Forces continue their accelerated preparation for a possible confrontation in Gaza. The military authorities believe they are fully prepared to maintain their activity throughout the winter season. To this end, Israeli authorities have begun a comprehensive process to equip their forces on all borders with special equipment designed for winter. Yesterday, the Israel Defense Forces reported that the army has so far distributed 12,000 winter jackets and 300,000 small-sized disposable thermal bags. However, they lack experience in this regard, with the exception of the War of Independence from 1948 to 1949, a different period in which the Israeli armed forces strove to protect or recover existing territories. That is why the Israeli authorities are currently taking all possible precautions. History has numerous examples demonstrating how winter has had a crucial impact on past conflicts, from the Russian invasion of Ukraine to the German incursion into Russia during World War II. In those cases, winter has slowed, stopped, or affected the advance of the invasions. Assuming the Israel Defense Forces arrange or provide everything necessary, including additional jackets and heating systems, the Israeli military could avoid some significant challenges related to adverse weather conditions. As evidenced, the military has begun to address essential and well-known challenges, such as ensuring the protection of soldiers from extreme weather conditions. However, uncertainty still remains about the level of strategic and tactical preparation due to the lack of operational experience in combat conditions during winter. Accordingly, the Israel Defense Forces considers this matter a significant problem that requires immediate attention and action to resolve. The challenge is compounded by the absence of a definitive date for concluding the invasion. At times, senior Israeli Defense Forces commanders and political officials have estimated that the intensity of the conflict could last 1 to 2 months. Despite initial expectations of a decline in hostilities around December 7th, the actual occupation began earlier, between October 25th and 27th. This raises the possibility that intense fighting could continue until the end of December, thus further extending the duration of the conflict. The most recent statements hint at the possibility that intense fighting will persist for several additional months. According to defense sources, Israel Defense Forces units on the ground receive all required logistical supplies, including ammunition, force protection, fuel, essential equipment, food supplies, and energy supplies. Defense sources have established makeshift forward bases to facilitate these logistical supplies. However, stabilization in Gaza is not yet in sight. In the areas of northern Gaza under greater control of the Israel Defense Forces, if there is no visible progress towards stabilization, intense fighting is likely to continue into the winter months. Part of winter may act as an initial phase of response to the ongoing situation. Senior Israel Defense Forces officials indicated that their logistics units have had considerable success in providing support to military forces in Gaza. However, they face increasing challenges transporting fuel trucks through enemy territory, as they are exposed to anti-tank missile and mortar attacks. The Israel Defense Forces have supplied 5,000 additional bulletproof vests to its troops since the start of the invasion, in addition to those provided in the first 3 weeks of the war. Senior Israel Defense Forces officials acknowledge that many of the military forces protect the Gaza border and do not enter urban areas, so they do not have bulletproof vests. Instead, Israeli soldiers wear vests designed to resist shrapnel blasts. Israel Defense Forces sources noted that at this stage, these troops are unlikely to engage in close combat with enemy forces. However, they also indicated that they could face threats such as mortars or rocket explosions. The vests provided to border guard units do not offer protection against bullets, but they do provide greater security against shrapnel. Colonel Oren Fortal, logistics officer of the Southern Command of the Israel Defense Forces, explained, "From the moment our forces entered, the logistics section has been active in rescuing vehicles from the combat zone, evacuating the wounded and preserve lives. Simultaneously, we have ensured a constant supply of fuel, ammunition, operational vehicles, energy foods, and a wide range of medical supplies for our troops. So far, a considerable amount of essential supplies for logistics operations have been managed. These figures include the distribution of a considerable number of water bottles, reaching 227,000 units, as well as the delivery of 420,000 food items, and the provision of 78,000 beds for soldiers on the battlefield. These detailed logistics show the commitment of the Israeli authorities in their preparation to face all the challenges that may arise during a war conflict. We thank all our followers for their constant support in this process.